morning, good morning. It's time to rise and shine. Good morning to you. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. And welcome to Winning Wednesday. Yes, it is that day of the week that we celebrate our wins for the week and look at maintaining our winning mindset. So, what wins are you celebrating this week? Let us know in the comments below so we can celebrate with you, because it's always good to celebrate with friends. And what wins are you setting yourself up for this week? So it's looking at your goals, looking at where you're going, taking that one baby step at a time. And do I have a tag on this thing? I hate tags. The tag about to come off this shirt later. But you know, what wins you celebrate this week? I've had a fantastic week. I am on a high right now. There's been a lot of wins happening this week. I've got a new client. I've got for the genealogy thing, which I am super excited to start delving into that. And I'm going to take my first dive into it tonight. So that's going to be so amazing. Oh, I can't wait. But I have the day to get through first. I've got other responsibilities that I have to take care of first before I get to kick back, relax, and enjoy as I go deep diving into a family. Yes, I do genealogy research to relax. Strange as that may sound, but some people do find research relaxing. I do, because you never know what you're going to find, what stories you're going to come up against, especially because some of the research that I do goes through is going through old newspapers, and you're looking for people's names. It could be a wedding announcement, it could be an obituary, it could be a birth announcement that you're looking for in a newspaper, or you've heard a rumor that somebody did something, so now you're going to research it to see if that family member actually did that, or was involved in an incident. And so you go searching, but when you go searching, you come across, because it pulls up where that person's name appears in all these different newspapers. It could be the person you're looking for, it could not be may not be the person you're looking for. But you go in there and read, and then you look at other headlines that are around that article. You know, there's this article, what other headlines are around there? And you pick up some interesting stories along the way. And like I said, the newspapers were huge. God, I mean, I'm going through the New Zealand papers right now, looking for a particular family member, looking for their birth announcement. And the gossips on those things, I tell you, newspapers were just big social. Yes, they had all the news in there, but they had this whole social section. They had the births, deaths, and the marriages in there, but they also had the local gossip, like who got admitted to hospital for what reason, when were they being released, when were they going home, when they went home, if they've gone on vacation, who they went and saw while they were on vacation. Now they're back home after vacationing in such and such a place, you know, where they went and visited with family and friends. Oh, and one of them is actually quite interesting because this is related to my family, in a cousin way, because it's with my great-grandmother's sister's family, and one of my great-grandmother's nephews, who would be my first cousin, first cousin to grandma, first cousin twice removed for me. He was actually a POW during World War II. But during his travels and during his time in the New Zealand Army, he was sending letters home to his parents in New Zealand, and they were getting published in the local newspapers to let everybody know these are what the conditions are like. And this was like when he was before he got captured as a POW. He even wrote a couple of letters while he was a POW for 4 years during World War II. And during those 4 years, he attempted 7 escapes. And so I'm just sort of like, I just want to go read about this person, but I need to find first the information. And that's one of those things that's gone onto this research to-do list, is to go back and see if I can find more of these letters that were printed in the local papers and read more about his experiences during World War II. And this is when history comes alive for you, as if you're researching an ancestor and you find somebody in your family that wrote letters home like this that were published somewhere along the way. Wow, now you have a first-hand inside look at what was happening at that time. What was, and what was this guy going through, and what was it like for him? And one of them, he turns around and says, we got to have, they put on a Christmas dinner for us. He was a POW. They got a Christmas dinner. I'm like, excuse me, you got a Christmas dinner? And he went on to describe his Christmas dinner. And another time he was talking about they were on a ship going from, where were they going? They go from England down to Africa because they were going to end up in Egypt. And he was talking about the conditions on the ship at the time. He was talking about the conditions on the ship when they were sailing from New Zealand to England to then get on the ship that then took them to Egypt. So there's all these different stories that he would write home about that his parents would then have published in the local newspaper so other families could read about what was happening to their young men that were overseas. And it's such a great way to report things. This is why journaling is such a huge part, it's such a huge thing that genealogists sort of like, journal, please journal, give us your first-hand accounts. So now I can go back through these letters and I can see through his eyes at the time back in the 1940s what was happening to him during the time that he was having these travels. What were the conditions like? What food were they eating? How cramped were their quarters? And he was talking about, they're having to sail along at night with no lights on, and it's so hot downstairs that men are upstairs on the upper decks in the outside area, trying to just get that breeze and cool off. So there's bodies just laying everywhere, and you got to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or whatever, and you're having to feel your way along, so you're not tripping over anybody because there's no lights on the ship, because at night all lights are out. They are sailing in blackout conditions. And so he's talking about these experiences and things, and then talking about what it's like to be a POW and some of his escape attempts and all this sort of stuff. So it's just fascinated me, and so I'm trying to make sure I grab all these stories as I go along. Whenever I see his name come on, oh, has he sent another letter? And I'm taking clippings of all these stories so I can go back later on and sit down and then put them into chronological order and then just read his journey through World War II. But to think that this was a relative of mine going through these experiences who actually wrote about them. And so now it's putting us in his place in that particular point in time, and we know what he's experiencing, what the conditions are like. So it's just fascinating when you're reading through old newspapers, what you can find and who you can find in there. You go looking for a name and you're looking for one particular detail about this person, you may end up finding a whole nother article about them. There was once I was researching for a client, and I was doing the research in the newspaper for them because I was looking for a birth announcement, and I came across this article, and I thought, well, this sounds like the right people. And I'm reading through this article, and it suddenly becomes apparent that this is this person that I'm researching for this client, and he had this whole political career that she knew nothing about. And so I was able to tell her, I says, well, according to what I found, and I said I did deeper research, and it is definitely was her second great-grandfather? Definitely was your second great-grandfather, because we did all this other research to verify that it was him they were talking about in this newspaper article, and he happened to be what position did he have? It was something in politics, and she had no clue that he was ever in politics. So it gave her a new light to this person, and she got to read about some of the stuff that he did, because we clipped all the newspaper clippings so she could go back and read all this information about her grandfather and what he did, or her great-grandfather and what he did. Second great-grandfather, hang on. Which family was that? Yeah, second great-grandfather. So she could go back and learn about her second great-grandfather through what he did in his role as a politician. And I can't remember which role he held, but but it was enough that it was in the newspaper about what he did and what his causes were and that sort of stuff. And some things in her life started to click into place, because she's like, oh, now I understand why this is happening. Now I understand this. Now I understand why I do this, because it's something that her second great-grandfather had done, and these traits have been passed down through the family. See, when you get DNA, you don't know what you're going to get. You may just get, you're not just getting the physical aspects of the DNA, you're also in some places getting different personality traits coming through as well. And so she was able to learn more about her grandfather and understand her family more as to why her family was the way it was. And she just said, once you showed me those articles, things just started happening, and they just started making sense. Things that didn't make sense before now make sense because of these articles I found for her second great-grandfather. So you never know what you're going to find or what you're going to learn about your ancestors when you're researching. So to be able to dive into another new family mystery is awesome. I love it. I consider it a win every time I sign on a client and I get to go dive into their family history and resolve questions that they have, or some mystery or rumor or story and either verifying it or verifying that the information that they, verifying the story that they've heard as rumors, or giving them, yeah, that is kind of true, but this is what really happened. And being able to confirm or deny rumors and that sort of stuff. So to me, that's always a win when I sign on a new client. So that's my big win I'm celebrating this week, and I get to start diving in this evening. So I am super, super excited about that. Yay! So what are your wins? So back to on topic. Man, total segue there. What are your wins that you're celebrating this week? Let us know in the comments below. If you would like to enter our free drawing to win a personalized engraved tumbler, and I totally forgot to put them on the desk here with me again this morning, you get the choice of pink or black at the end of the month on July 31st. Then just go to the link, the have to win link that is in the description, and you'll also receive, once you enter, you will also receive a free copy of the ebook Family Tree Decoded. So that's it from us for this morning. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling winning Wednesday. Let us know in the comments below what your wins are for this week. And remember, that winning mind, when you're in that mode of celebrating those wins, that's the best time to keep that forward momentum going, because you're still riding on the high of that win. And now you can keep that momentum going and go out there and get your next win, and your next one, and your next one. So keep the momentum going today. Let us know what you're celebrating this week so we can celebrate with you. Hei konara.